What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm joined by Christy, and we're here to discuss who will die first in Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3. So this is our theory video in between Episodes 2 and 3. We obviously know Episode 3 is going to start the battle. Rumor has it that's going to be the entire episode. It's just going to be the fight. So we know that this could very well be the first episode that we're going to lose some major characters in Game of Thrones. So we're going to go through 3 people, each, Christy and I, that we think have a chance to be the first person. We obviously want to hear from you guys too in the comments below. Lay your bets, lay your predictions. Who do you think is going to be the first character that we know their name? So it could be major, could be side character, but at least we know who that person is. Who do you think will be the first person killed off in Game of Thrones Season 8? So I'm going to let Christy go first, and then I'll go after her.
Well, to start off, we know this whole episode is going to be the battle. It's been said, it's why it's 80 minutes long. This is the battle that we've all been waiting for. And for the people I think that are going to die, I honestly think everyone's going to die pretty much. Maybe like 4 people will survive, but it's who we think will die first. And I think one of the first people that could die is Missandei. The reason is because the last episode, they really focused on her really heavily. They really just kind of, they focused on Grey Worm a little bit too, and I do think he's going to go too, but they really focused on her especially. And I feel like something's going to happen in the crypts. Obviously, something's going to happen in the crypts. They keep mentioning how safe it is, and when is anything ever safe in Winterfell? Nothing is ever safe. So I feel like something's going to get into the crypts, either from underneath the ground because they're literally raising the dead, or someone's going to break into the crypts, and Missandei is going to sacrifice herself to save Daenerys or the women and children in the crypts, because that's a very Missandei thing to do. So I think I think she's going to be one of the first to go. Next, I think, is Brienne. And the reason is because Brienne has had an amazing, story throughout this entire season. Not this season, but all seasons. She's had an insane, crazy journey. In the last episode, she was knighted. That was literally her dream. Her dream just came true. And I feel like it's sort of a nod to her character, and it's sort of wrapped up her character in a sense that it's like, all right, you've been knighted, you reached your dreams, and typically when people reach their dreams in Game of Thrones, it basically solidifies the end for them. So I feel like it's a sort of a sad, tragic way that she's just been knighted, and she's going to die, one of the first people to die in the front lines. She is there in the heart of the battle. I feel like she's going to go first. I feel like Jaime's going to see it go down, and Pod is going to rush to save her but not make it in time. I think that's what's going to happen. It's just really sad because I'm one of the fans of Brienne. I loved Brienne. She was an amazing, amazing knight. She was the only one throughout the entire show to keep her honor. So the last person I think is going to go is sort of the obvious. It's Theon. Everyone, we all know it's Theon. Come on. He's going to be the only one to protect Bran. It's Theon. He could barely protect himself and through literally the entire everything throughout this entire series. Even when he was going to go save Yara first, he got the crap beat out of him. And then because the guy went to knee him in his non-existent area, he suddenly had the upper hand. Otherwise, Theon really has no fighting skill whatsoever, although he was raised as a Stark, so you'd think, he trained with all of them, that he would have somewhat of fighting skill. He really doesn't seem to have any. So Theon, he's gone. And also because I've heard, there's one thing that Bran said in the trailers for Season 8 that we haven't heard yet, and it's when he talks about a certain line where he says, you've gone through everything to get where you are, and that's home. And I'm pretty sure he's telling this to Theon. I'm pretty sure he's telling Theon, like, you are home. And that's, it's going to be an emotional moment. And we've already had an emotional moment with Sansa and Theon where we were like, yay, they get to, hug. And it really redeemed Theon and Sansa for me, that moment where they hugged. And it's just kind of a sweet moment. It made me feel like, dang, now I really don't want him to die. But I feel like they put that in there because he is going to die. And he's going to have a heart moment, like a heartwarming moment with Bran in the Godswood, and right at the end of it is when he's going to die. Will it be by the Night King? I don't know. I don't know that the Night King will be stupid enough to fall for that trap. I don't know who's going to kill Theon, but I definitely think someone is going to kill Theon to get to Bran, and maybe it's just his soldiers, or maybe it's the Night King himself. One way or another, Theon is for sure going down. So that's my 3.
So I kind of tried to go with some dark horse candidates, although I also picked Theon as my first of 3. But the other 2 I'll explain when we get there. Theon, in episode 2, when he kind of volunteered himself to be the protector of Brienne, it's kind of like, well, that seems like a death sentence just because of pretty much the reason why Christy was just saying. And also, you know, the whole plan is to lure the Night King to that area. And if there's one person, and even, you know, he's going to have his group of soldiers with him too. But if it's going to be the main villain versus just a couple of guys protecting Brienne, those guys are complete goners. So I do think Theon is definitely one. In terms of would he be the first one, that's a little more tough. Now, my other two, I have Varys and I have the Hound, and they're both for different reasons. Varys, you know, in the crypts, we've seen that in the previews or in the trailer for season 8, so we know he's down there. So if there is a break-in, if they do attack from underneath or from behind or whatever, if they get down there, basically anybody without weapons or anybody that's not a skilled fighter is pretty much done for. They have a couple people that I'll also talk about. They have a couple people in that we've seen from the trailers that do know how to fight that are still in there that maybe could help protect them. But if they were to go down there, if the White Walkers actually make it, Varys would be a candidate. Again, would he be the first one to go? Not sure. And finally, I have the Hound, and the Hound is a tough one, but it's one that, you know, in the previews for episode 3, we see the Hound back to back going through Winterfell, and we also know from the trailers that we see Arya running away from who knows what. We don't actually know who that is yet, but what I think that does lead to is somebody's chasing Arya, which is obviously known, right? Somebody is chasing Arya, so there's a threat in the castle, and I feel like the Hound is searching out for something there, and I feel like those two are kind of destined to meet each other, where the Hound will end up protecting Arya, which is, you know, other theories that people have talked about too, that the Hound maybe would die protecting Arya. It makes sense if there's a threat attacking her and he's looking for a threat that we kind of have confirmation of in 2 different previews. You know, I feel like that would end up happening, that he would end up dying there. It's tough. I don't have anybody from the front lines like Christy had Brienne. I feel like it's one or the other. I think somebody from either the front lines, Podrick, Brienne, they'd be one to go first, or it would be a surprise candidate, which would be like a surprise attack in the crypts. I don't think maybe Theon would actually go, something like that. But there's a lot of names that I think could go in general in this episode. I think episode 3, we could lose quite a few people, but it's just obviously who we believe would be the first person. And if you guys enjoyed this theory and you guys want to go back and you want to watch any of the past seasons of Game of Thrones, you know, we're very into Game of Thrones season 8 right now, but if you want to go back and relive any of the past seasons, check out our affiliate link. It's in the description. It's through Fandango now. You click that link, you go buy, you know, if you rent, you buy whatever. It could be Game of Thrones, could be anything you want. You do that, it helps support the channel out. We'd much appreciate it. You can link your Fandango VIP points, so if you are a member, it's completely free to sign up. You earn points when you go to movie theaters, and you know, when you buy tickets. You can also earn points when you buy or rent these shows or movies, and you can use those points to end up buying them or renting things for absolutely free, okay? So it's a really cool thing. I use it all the time, and it definitely would help us out if you guys do that. Just click the link and then, you know, go through your shopping or whatever you want to do for shopping with that link, and it'll help the channel out. So guys, let us know in the comments below, who do you think is going to die first in episode 3 of Game of Thrones? So who do you think is going to go in general in this episode and the rest of the season? Let us know your predictions in the comments below, and make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. We're reviewing every episode of Game of Thrones, so we'll be doing that every single Sunday, and then every single Tuesday we'll have a theory leading up to the next episode of Game of Thrones. So we appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you on the next video.